This is C17 alpha alkylated anabolics part 3. In this I'm going to be talking about mainly the difference between injectable and oral steroids. The big difference is C17 alpha alkylation, but I don't precisely mean that. What I do mean is that while certain drugs like Anadrol can be toxic in perhaps 100 to 150 milligrams, injectable steroids, much like testosterone ephenate, can be injected up to 3 grams weekly. This is very, very big difference. There's a very, very big difference here in the toxicity levels. C17 alpha alkylated steroids, because of the designer steroid market, designer or pro-hormone market, designer steroid or pro-hormone market, are commonly used. But this is, in effect, one that tries to show you why you should just consider these as adjuncts to injectables. The primary reason, which I've already stated, is liver stress. The problem lies with almost all of the pro-hormones, and I've had people that have tried pro-hormones around me, is that it is very hard to make the gains last. This is because of the very short duration in which you can stay on these compounds. There's an intrinsic problem here. You cannot stay on them long enough to solidify the gain, but if you don't stay on them, you don't gain at all. You see the big problem here. What can you do about it? Use these mostly as adjuncts. The problem when they become the mainstay of anabolic therapy is that cycle durations are simply not long enough. Most good cycles are between 8 and 16 weeks. This is the time when your body probably needs to develop a significant level of muscle. By trying to shortcut things normally don't go as well. There are numerous and big problems with this. Most shortcuts wind up having pronounced pituitary suppression. This, of course, can take weeks, if not months, to go away. And because most of these people experimenting with these designer steroids have no adjunct drugs like Novadex, Arimidex, HCG to help them through this, it can be crippling. This is why most people, I believe, use pro-hormones quite ineffectively. Pro-hormones can be a very good addition to, let's say 500 milligrams a week of testosterone ephenate, or maybe even 250 milligrams. But the problem in using them as a mainstay is that the liver stress just cannot be gotten around. There are, however, a few compounds of C17 alpha alkylated, oral compounds that are not C17 alpha alkylated. The problem with these is they generally tend on a group to be very weak. Also, the expense in procuring these is probably much less than injectables are. So what I'm trying to sum up in this whole big speech is that if you're a bodybuilder and want to experiment with anabolics, getting used to needles is probably a very good idea. Many people can say you can work with pro-hormones and somehow design this elaborate cycle. Most of these, I believe, cannot be done for more than a couple of years in your youth because, again, of the liver stress. You have to understand that your liver does so many vital functions in your body that putting stress on the liver is not generally, as a bodybuilder, what we want to do. I do believe, however, one of the best uses for these orals is the few weeks prior to a competition, in which they can be used to dramatically harden the physique. Some pro-hormones would work very much like Halostin in this regard. Another use is perhaps for powerlifting type weightlifters, is aggression. Before a contest, taking a Dynabol-like pro-hormone would most likely improve your lift quite dramatically. This may be due to something that steroids do on an ATP pathway, perhaps perhaps not.